you're thinking about moving to Mérida, Yucatán, Mexico, you need to understand the real reasons why people are relocating to Mérida. Like beyond the tourist version everybody sees. My name is Mariana. I'm a local Yucatecan, an immigration attorney, and a certified real estate agent in Yucatan. And today, I want to explain in this video why so many foreigners are choosing Mérida and what you need to know before making this very important decision. One of the main reasons why foreigners are moving to Mérida is safety. And not only foreigners, but actually non-locals. Other Mexicans from other states are moving to Mérida because of safety reasons. Mérida is consistently ranked as the safest city in Mexico. And that peace of mind is a huge factor for retirees, families with children, and investors. I can safely say that although it's very important to be careful of what you do and where you are, I generally feel safe doing things in Mérida, such as going out for a run, working, doing my daily chores, investing, going to the ATM, and normally even my neighbors are aware that when I'm not home to let me know if something weird is going on around my house. But safety isn't the only reason. People are also drawn to the quality of life. The slow pace, the community feel that happens especially when someone greets you at the street and says hello. I've said in the past videos that even while running in the park, I tend to stop myself to say at least hello or nod to the person who is walking towards me. And I've even seen foreigners do that to me, meaning they've gotten used to people doing it more and more here in Yucatan. Yucatecan people tend to be really interested about foreign cultures. This means that if you're not from Mexico, they'll typically want to know more about you, your costumes, and you will be really interesting to them. Of course, as long as you respect them in return. Some people also find it funny that when people say, I'll come by at 9 a.m., such as plumbers or people repairing things, although I do say it's not everybody, that they too tend to get there a little bit later. Although this might be something really bad and something we all have to work on, the slow pace of Mérida is true. But hey, nobody wants to feel like they're rushing in life. Now, talking about the real local life beyond being a tourist. This is a very important point. No matter where you move in the world, there's nothing like trying it out first. Living in Mérida is not the same as visiting Mérida. As a local, I can tell you that daily life here is much slower as when you're being a visitor. It's more traditional and more community focused. Something that I mentioned before in the video and I like doing when I move to a new place in Mérida is getting to know my neighbors. Typically, having a good relationship with your neighbors will help you out to know if something weird is going on around your house and just to be part of a friendly community. Also, it's good not to expect that everybody's going to speak English to you, but that you make an effort to try and learn Spanish and adapt to the culture. Something really nice as well is that in Mérida we have a lot of cultural events for a really good price. For example, we have the Yucatán Symphonic, which right now is giving concerts at different locations in Mérida, which compared to many other concerts of the same type in other parts of the world, it's pretty affordable and a nice getaway, cultural getaway for a family. Every January as well, we have the anniversary of the city of Mérida. We have marathons, we have art displays downtown. There's free events for all the family to be together. And something very important is the heat. Now, talking about the heat and now daily living in Mérida, a lot of people ask us, as Yucatecan, are you already used to the heat? And I always say, no, I'm not, but I've actually learned to live with it. Now, what that means in simple words is, for example, when you live somewhere where there's snow, you get used to when you can be out, when you have to be in, and what type of clothes to wear, how to have your house, etc. This is very similar to what happens when you are living in the heat. Now, it's true that we have some better months, such as October, December, January, I would say probably until March. But starting April and May are some of the hottest months in the whole year. Now, that is one of the main reasons why almost everybody here has AC at their home and why even choosing a home with solar panels or the ability to have this in the future might be really good now going into daily living in Mérida. You also learn what times not to go out. So for example, you'll never see a Yucatecan unless it's for necessity, walking just for fun at 12 noon outside, especially because that's when it gets the hottest, especially in May and April. So we try to go more in the afternoons, in parks, or really early in the morning. So there's no easy pace run at noon, at least not here. You also find a lot of people in malls, and they're not necessarily buying per se things, they're just there because of the AC. So people really like to go to Costco or malls just for fun. Have in mind then that if you expect to live in the outdoors, doing outdoorsy stuff all day, every day of the year, Mérida is probably not your best option. Cost of living. It's true that Mérida can be more affordable than many cities in the US and Canada, but it's not cheap in every sense, especially if you're looking for comfort, good healthcare, quality of housing. Depending on your budget, you can find houses between 170, 190K, 3 bedrooms, for example, new construction. These areas, you normally find them around Concal and Chulu, which are privadas or condominiums, HOAs, that are found at the northeast of Mérida, which makes it a really great location and has access to the beach, but might not be considered super close to the north that people think of when they think of Costco and most of the malls. That nevertheless still really good price. And of course, you can also find houses that go from 500K plus. Regarding services, it's important to note that although healthcare here is really good, and normally even specialists won't charge you that much for a first consultation or even for surgeries, it's important to have a health insurance. I personally use a company called GNP. It's very big in a lot of Latin America, but especially Mexico, and it's worked wonders for me, either for minor things, have doctor on call, use some of the biggest hospitals in case of big surgeries. But there's also the option as a resident to be able to pay into the public health insurance, or for minor things like just going to a specialist, we just pay it to be able to get it faster. Typically, when I talk about pricing, it really changes from person to person. You might find that maybe for 1,500 US dollars, you are able to live very comfortably here. But it all depends really on you. For example, a simple budget could look like this. To live in the north, maybe you want to start out by renting a property. You might be thinking about maybe a townhouse. Now, a townhouse outside of Mérida on the north area, close driving towards Costco and supermarkets, might be around, let's put like 21,000 pesos, which could be equivalent to about $1,200 a month in rent. Now, regarding food, I consider myself a person that spends on good food, nothing also too expensive or things I don't need. But I tend to spend about $400 to $500 a month, US dollars, in groceries. Every time you go out for a restaurant, I'm going to talk about couples, for example, me and my husband, when we go out for a restaurant, we might spend on a good restaurant around 50K USD or less. Regarding services for your house or the property you're renting, have in mind that the most expensive will be electricity. For example, for our 2-bedroom house, and we normally use the AC a lot, we tend to pay around 200 to 300 USD every 2 months. Water as well. Our portable water, it's not drinkable, but it's with what we shower on and everything like that, could be around 200 pesos, like $10-20 every 2 months, of course, depending on your consumption. I hope this gives you an idea of how much you need for budgeting, but of course all of this will depend on if you're renting, if you're buying a property, and what your consumption looks like. Now, to end this video, there's a really good point on common mistakes. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see foreigners do when they are moving to Mérida is moving without understanding all the legal and real estate realities. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am an immigration attorney and I also do real estate. I see a lot of foreigners purchasing a property because they like it from afar. First of all, without checking the legal documents, or for example, if the developer is a good one with a good reputation. Now, it's really important to have a combination of a good real estate agent that knows about law to be able to understand if this developer or the seller, which can also be an individual, has the right, first of all, to sell this property, that this property is lien free, and that the process runs smoothly. As well, it's important that this agent and lawyer knows how foreigners purchase in Mexico, which in other of our videos you can find that information, and we'll be posting more about that very, very soon. Now, what other people do is purchase the property, but then they don't make sure that they can actually live in the country as a resident. And the fact is that living as a tourist in Mexico will always have certain limitations. For example, you cannot put a car under your name. If you sell, you will pay the capital gain tax. There's no exemption. You can't bring your family members, and it could be that they give you only a few days to stay when you come to your property. All of that can be avoided with good planning. Checking if really you can be eligible for residency along with the purchase of your property. If you're considering moving to Mérida and making this your second home or your forever home, buying property or living legally in Mexico, I work one-on-one with foreigners relocating to this beautiful city. And not just that, but doing it the right way. You'll find my contact information below. If this is something you're planning to do soon, send me a message and let's start your journey today. If you like this kind of videos, please hit like and subscribe to make sure you get all the news and updates on our weekly videos. See you until the next time. Bye bye.